Yeah, and this star is here, Krishna.
Hey, is
Hello,
David here as
welcome.
well? I think
Yeah,
David's
yeah,
here. Hey, Burak.
yeah. And
I'll just
Akhil
be
is
on mute
here.
for a bit.
Okay, no worries. So Krishna is the guy who is going to make the live demonstration so that we can ask our questions to Krishna about the beauty and how can I say it is how they can make it. I mean, maybe Krishna, you don't need to give the whole secret sauce, but maybe you can just give some idea
Yeah,
how
yeah,
your secret
definitely.
sauces look like. Yeah.
Sure, sure, sure. I think
Okay.
David's going to cover a lot of that part while talking about our tech stack. And I think when I give the demo, people can ask questions. So
Yeah.
we'll make it interesting for sure for everyone.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure. So I mean, in this kind of webinars, the live demo part is the most exciting part. So that we are just
Yeah.
seeing how it is working, and then the questions are coming. Yeah. So take the challenge.
Yes.
Yeah, you have to put exciting in quotation marks, right?
Yeah. Yeah, Zoe, welcome, Zoe.
Hello. I'm going to get myself
Hello.
muted
Zoe.
on the call. So good
Oh,
luck
we
with
can
that.
hear you, Zoe.
You can hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, okay.
We can hear
All
you
right.
perfectly. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to get myself muted throughout the process. So good luck with that. I'm just attending as an audience.
Yeah, sure. So,
All
I
right.
mean, just let me make an introduction. Zoe is the founder of the Visionular, and
Yes.
she is the one, I think, for making the development of software business. So we can see her in the events that she's speaking.
Yeah.
She's very. I mean, Zoe, your energy is really cool. So you are very excited. I really like it.
Well, thank you. Should I just really mute myself, right, and turn on my
Okay.
camera? Right. All right. Good luck with that.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you.
Looking forward to.
Yeah, we have
Almost
visitors.
32,
Yeah, we
33. Yeah.
33. Yeah, that's great. I mean, I also see some familiar names. Yeah. So Kerim from Entropy Works. So he's a talented video developer. So thank you for being here, Kerim. And we met him in person last week, as far as I remember. Oh, and Paresh from ThinkWords. I think we met in NAB last year, yeah?
IBC. We met in IBC this
In
year,
IBC.
last year. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, last year.
Nice to see
Hopefully
you.
we will
Thank
meet.
you.
Yeah, hopefully we will meet again, maybe NAB this year.
Or IBC. I mostly go to IBC, not NAB. So
Okay. Welcome, guys. Welcome, Fabio, Brad, Ricardo, Usame, Peter. Welcome, guys. So this is 6 p.m. I mean, this is on time. Just wait a couple of more minutes. Maybe some guy was about to join.
Yeah.
And so for this will be a very quick webinar. There will be just quick informations, live demonstration. So it will be exciting. And probably you have some questions. You can type your questions on the chat window so that we can read after it, or in the question Q&A phase, you can just raise your voice and ask your questions. By the way, currently we are using our own Circle, which is our online video platform. And the beauty of is that it can run on-prem. So it is an open source product running on top of Ant Media server, and we are just using that one. And currently we are about having this guys, so it's good. Yeah, thank you, Tandu. Thank you. So it was great to see you. No worries, Karim. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Maya, for the feed forward. So Chrome was not working for you. Okay, so there will be a recording for this webinar, and we will publish on YouTube. You can even watch it later, and it will be announced through the social media again. And we are about 59 people. Yeah, so just a couple of more, 1 or 2 minutes, so we can start at 1.5 minutes later.
Hey, Ozan.
Hello, come. So it was great to see you that we are having such an event and people are joining. So, I mean, it makes us very excited about what we are doing, how we are proceeding.
Okay.
And before we are starting, so the idea about this integration is coming from Krishna first. So thank you, Krishna, for bringing this opportunity. I think it was maybe time last year, yeah? So we just
almost a year ago when we met at NAB.
Yeah. I mean, after 1 year, for technical stuff, everything has been done, and we are doing some business together. Perfect.
Yes.
And I see there's a great potential in this partnership. We are just fitting perfectly to each other, and we are just, I mean, making a whole solution for some users to make life easy or pay less for them, make it more affordable, and having a more quality through live streaming. Just let me get started, guys. I will just share my screen and quickly make a quick introduction, and then I will just let David get the stage, and he will tell about the Visionular. So I'm just sharing my screen. I hope you see my screen. So do you see my screen?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, perfect. So guys, as you know, the goal of this webinar is about AI-powered live transcoding. This means less bandwidth and more quality. And this webinar is coming through with the partnership of Visionular and the Ant Media. So we are in business space and also in this webinar as well. So, and the agenda, as mentioned, I will just make a quick intro tell something about Ant Media. Then David will give you the Visionular, what the Visionular is doing. He will make a great presentation, tell what the Visionular is doing, and he will have a presentation. Then we will just discuss about this integration, Visionular and Media integration, what its value is about. Then we will just proceed for the live demo. which Krishna takes part, and he will just show us a live demonstration about the higher quality, lower bitrate, and we will just see the differences in his screen. So after that, it is the Q&A part. On the other hand, the Q&A is not only limited to that part. If you have on the chat window, or maybe sometimes you can raise your voice. And at the last, we will just talk about what is next. And we will likely maybe ask your suggestions. What do you suggest us to make an event, or what we can do together?
Yeah, hi, David.
Yeah. So we are doing in Ant Media. So in the Ant Media, our goal is to democratize the streaming. And we are making streaming democratized by making it accessible, affordable, and innovative. I mean, in this webinar, with our partnership with Visionular, we are making, I mean, innovative, affordable, and it is serving all these missions. I mean, you know, the Ant Media it creates the Ant Media server and around plugins, partnerships around that stuff. If you would like to be part of this mission, just let us know. You can just reach out to contact at antmedia.io. We can have a meeting. It can be something in person, or it can be something as a company. So we can partners, we have the community, and it was great to do something together to add value to the world. So yeah, I think this part is on your end, David. So the stage is yours. I'm just closing my screen share, and you can proceed.
Thank you very much. You guys hear me okay? Give a thumbs up. I know this is cool. We have a little emoji reactions. I'd love to see reactions as we're going. I have a couple of questions for the audience. You guys can hear me okay? All right. Yeah, as somebody noted in the comments, there can be a lot of background noise. I'm not sure if there's a way to mute. Please mute yourself if you're not talking. That will help. I think it's getting better now. There were a couple of people with some noisy mics there. So I'll go ahead and share my screen. I do want to give you guys a kind of a quick run through of who Visionular is, but also the kind of a little bit more background, right? So who we are as a company, right? So, but before I do that, I want to kind of present a use case to you guys. A sports streaming event and had some kind of buffering, poor quality of experience, something like that, right? You're just about to watch a penalty kick and the screen freezes or something like that happens. If you're probably lying because everybody's seen this, right? So we realized that, in all likelihood, when you see something like that, the video compression that's used to deliver that stream to you is probably at fault. Poor video compression can lead to things like poor video quality, higher than necessary bit rates, poor encoding density on the encoder farm, and also just like slow encoding speeds, which then leads to like really bad user experience. You can see our little mock-up here of somebody with a extra large buffering logo here in the middle of it. And so what we're really trying to say is like, you spent all this money. Sometimes the coding is kind of the overlooked piece of the puzzle here, like a Jenga tower, right? So you spend all this money on apps, you spend content acquisition, you're building a live transcoding service, and little piece you think about, I could just use something very easy. That's not necessarily the case. So then the question is, well, can I just buy something new? Oops, sorry, that went on ahead automatically. I'll fit into that equation. Now, we would like to say no. Our premise is that no, you should actually spend a little bit more time, because video compression is an art and a science, right? You have to balance things like the codecs, profiles, resolutions, bit rates, network conditions of your users, different devices delivering to, right? Different streaming protocols. Are you muxing the output from CMAF to Dash and so forth? Also have to think about the compute power that's needed either in your cloud or on-prem, where you could run things like Ant Media Server. But in reality, you're thinking about all those things we just said, the encoding decision really comes down to three main criteria, right? There are three trade-offs between speed, how fast you encode something, the quality that you output, and then the size, meaning the bit rate or the actual file size if it's like a VOD asset. Is the question, well, how do you actually determine what encoding parameters to use, right? to kind of determine the best quality and size and speed outcome, right? This is kind of tricky, right? So you have all these inside of the encoder, like partition structures, mode decisions, region of interest, right? Like, how do I know where to allocate my bits? If I have a complex scene, like on the right-hand side where I'm panning out to cover a whole stadium, what to the encoder, how do you understand what's the area of importance here, right? People don't necessarily care so much about the people in the stands. They're going to want to have focus on, from a bit perspective, on the action on the pitch. And so this is kind of a hard job, right? If you think about it from an encoding perspective, you don't know what frame is coming. There's a lot of things you have to think about. And so we'd like to suggest that we took approach this when we built our encoders to actually include AI and ML inside our product. Video frame coming in, we automatically use our lightweight model inside of our encoder to understand, hey, what is this? Is it sports, UGC, premium content, news, screen content, what we're doing right now, or something else? So we categorize that scene with a lightweight model, and then we do a quality analysis, right? Because if that is already sharp, doesn't need a lot of adjustment, you can actually understand, like, okay, we're going to turn on and off these things inside the encoder based on the kind of quality it is. If the quality is not very good, maybe we should spend a little bit more time to analyze it and actually potentially do a little bit more enhancement, denoising, deblurring, sharpening, and things like that before it actually goes into the encoder. Because if you can do some of those things using AI and ML in advance of the actual encoding, you actually make the encoding faster and easier, which then results in lower bit rate and higher quality to the user. So all of our encoders are built using AI and ML. Sorry, I realize I have an automatic advance on this, so I'm just going to go back. It might go back and forth a little bit. I apologize for that. But if you see these two sample frames here, with a comparable encoder on the left-hand side of your screen, this is for AVC, which is our Aurora 4 product. Aurora 4 is our encoder for AVC, or H.264 encoding. You can see a comparable encoder would output this video at 720p at 848 kilobits per second with a VMAF of 91.07. So the VMAF is basically, for those of you who don't know, it's a way of having an objective metric, meaning a quantifiable metric that actually shows how good, how nice this looks to the human visual system. Sorry, somebody else just went off mute. Thank you. So the higher the score from 0 to 100, the better it looks to the human visual system. The lower the score, usually you're going to see more artifacts and things like that. It was research done by Netflix, added between a quality score and what the humans can see, not the humans, because obviously. And so when we ran that same frame, we realized using our ML model, that background photo on the wall doesn't make much sense to allocate bits to, because that's not what humans are going to be interested in looking at, right? They're going to be looking at the text. Humans all will look for when there's text on screen. They're going to look for that. They're going to try to parse it, understand it. They're going to look for faces, because we as humans like to interact and connect with other people. So if we can allocate, very quickly understand this is a face in the frame, we know right off the bat we should allocate more bits there and spend a little bit more time making sure the face tones, the colors are appropriate, the edges are sharp, and so forth. So you can see here that by dynamically allocating bits in this frame, we're able to achieve around a 35% lower bitrate level while actually boosting the visual quality. And this holds true depending are built for HEVC, H.265, and you can see a comparable encoder running esports, a little trickier, very, very fast motion, coming in at 79 frames per second. We output at, the left-hand side is a comparable encoder running at 4 megabit per second, has a very high VMAF score. Again, VMAF being subjective quality. But when we ran that same frame through our encoder using AI and ML, we're actually able to reduce that bit rate down, understanding like, hey, some of the grass textures in the background of this frame are not as important, but things like text where it's got number 8, maybe the plus 60 in the middle are actually more important, because that's what the humans are going to see. So we're able to drop that bit rate down by almost 50%. Now that's quite a lot. We typically don't see 50% bit rate savings. We would typically say our encoders see a 25 to kind of 35% large. Lastly, I would say, obviously we spent a lot of time in research. Our background as a group of engineers came from developing and standardizing the AV1 codec, which is, for those of you who don't know, it's kind of like that came out in 2018 and was finally standardized. But we see the same type of bitrate benefit here for Aurora 1, which is the RAV1 codec, compared to an open source libaom, which is the open source encoder here. So it's a little bit more about us as a company. We serve a lot of different use cases: sports streaming, ed tech. We have a lot of UGC customers, as well as premium OTT service, cloud gaming. We've recently started to see a lot of uptick in the MV HEVC space with VR and AR, as well as deployed onto things like cameras, mobile encoders, backpacks for things like surveillance or remote contribution if you're streaming a sports game from a field. Video quality, very, very fast encoding, and lower bit rates. And then we support a bunch of different codecs, not for video, but also for image-based codecs as well. I'd be remiss if I didn't show some of the logos of the people that we work with and see from different platforms, premium VOD. There's some obviously that I can't share here. I can share like Pinterest and Snapchat, very, very large customers processing millions of video files each day. And the last slide I have here before I turn back over is that we've been around for 6 years. We have around 100 team members worldwide. So we have a kind of a follow the sun mentality. So no matter where you are, we have a team that can support you. We have over 100 satisfied clients, 100% retention. Once people start using our products, they continue to use our products. And obviously, when encoding things like videos for Snapchat or Pinterest or things like that, there's a lot of volume of videos, and further enhance our models. And to date, I think, and this number, Krishna, I think it might be wrong now. It's a little bit out of date. We think we've actually encoded more than 10 billion videos of this,
Yes.
and saved our customer, 5,000 petabytes. So with that, I'd like to turn back over. I think Krishna, you might talk a little bit more about the benefits and so forth, or a little bit more about the integration.
Yeah. David, unfortunately, share. Sorry.
I stopped sharing. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So thanks for the introduction, David, and for walking us all through what we do at Visionular. Now, one of the big benefits that I'd like to call out is the heart of what Visionular produces is actually an encoding library. Right? So we have a team of researchers who work day in and out using neural networks. It's actually a very complex process. Right? In every step, you need to balance several variables, and doing that manually or by early exit in coding is not the most efficient technique. So when we use neural networks, we improve the process, we make it faster, produce better quality. And the output of our team, as I mentioned, is an encoding library. Now we have this unique ability, I would say, in this business, is to provide this library in multiple and to the industry. So if somebody is running or they can use our SDKs using C or any other languages to build their own encoders. But if you're using FFmpeg, we can also provide it as a plugin, which can just get plugged in as another encoder to FFmpeg. So you have this. And we also provide our cloud. And that's what led us to actually talking to Ant Media in this case. Anywhere in any cloud on any computing platform, and we were able to actually replace the encoder. So we were able to provide it as an SDK into Ant Media. Ant Media was able to integrate it into their server, and that made the integration very simple. Now, how it works is actually once you start the Ant Media server, you have to choose Visionular's encoder instead of the default one. Business things that I leave out of this call. To just focus on the technology side of things, you would choose Ant Media, you would go into the advanced settings and say, here's the Visionular encoder. I want to switch to that. Here are the settings that I want to do. And once you hit play or once you hit start, your encoding actually passes to our encoder and not the default encoder inside Ant Media. So you have both options in any case. And very pretty straightforward manner, I would say. Yes, I do see. Yeah, there are some freezes
Yeah,
now and then.
yeah, time to time. Yeah, thank you, Krishna,
Yes,
for telling the Ant Media and the Visionular integration.
yes.
And thank you, David, for the great presentation. So I'm right now we are just about to stage the exciting part. Yeah, Krishna.
Shall we? Shall we? Yeah, yeah. So I will switch over to the demo. So please let me know if you can see my screen. Uh, Now, once I switch, I obviously cannot see anyone. So if you have a question, I guess Ogus or someone, please moderate and I can try and answer.
Okay.
My screen will be stuck to the demo screen. Okay, so let me start. Okay, before I go there, so last month when he went with his family to watch an ice hockey game. David's a big fan of ice hockey, so we shot a beautiful video where a goal is being shot. So we're using that. We're pushing it to Ant Media, which we're running on our EC2 instance, and we have piped two outputs out of it. So one using the native encoder, one switched to the Visionular encoder. At Visionular, we have a very simple comparisons. So there are bitrate graphs. It should be pretty self-explanatory, but I'll walk you through it. The only thing is that you might see a small, probably half a second lag between the streams, and this is purely the way the servers are set up. Okay, so without further ado, let me start.
Uh,
Yeah, Sudeep, go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah, so can it be done on any basically real-time video, or the demo is predefined for basically this pre-processed video only?
So this is a real-time stream which is being pushed right now.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. So this is right. Now I'll just scroll up a bit so that we can focus on the bitrate graphs. As you know, okay, so we are producing three bitrates over here: 640p, 720p, 1080p. Likewise on the right. So what we're doing now is fundamentally we are going to I'm going to force it to pick up a bitrate 1080p, and unfortunately, I know this is a screen share, so it's probably not fair on my part to tell you that you can actually compare with your eyes. But what you can do after this call is you can reach out to us, you can reach out to the Ant Media team or the Visionular team, and we'll get you onboarded. We'll even send you samples so that you can, at your convenience, do a left-right comparison. What you're seeing here is actual bit rates, right? Where the native encoder between, I would say, 1500 to 2000 kbps, whereas Visionular is able to actually, on an average, bring it close to 1000 or slightly closer to 900 kbps. So that represents almost a 40 to a 50% bitrate reduction. And yeah, I'll just pause for a second so that you guys can watch.
And so an OBS instance where we just choose a local file to loop, but that
Yes.
could be a camera source to your or any other kind of SRT or RTMP input to Ant Media Server, I think was your question, right, Sudeep?
Yeah, right.
Absolutely. Thanks, David.
Yeah. But obviously, for purpose of the demo, we didn't want a camera pointed off into the. It's not as exciting, obviously, to see a camera just pointed off into a room with a live feed. So we decided to pull a video and just kind of put it on loop through OBS.
Got it.
Want to ask us questions? I think this is the right time.
Okay, so when I see these screen shares on the left, it is the original one, and on the right, this is your encoder, and the bitrate is very low in this
Yes.
scenario. So, is there something that we can it as some scores or something
We
like
can
that?
do that, August. So actually, as a follow-up to this, we'll calculate certain VMAP scores and we can show that. So I think I've actually submitted a request to our team to compute this.
Okay.
We can get back to that.
Yeah, I see. So, and there's a question coming from Martin, and he's asking, are you using this tech right now? So, I think I can answer this question, or anyone can answer. Okay, let me proceed then.
I'm sorry, I didn't get that question. Sorry, I didn't get that question.
Yeah, the question is, Martin is asking, are you using this tech right now?
Okay, let me come back to that. I'll stop the screen share.
Okay.
Sorry, let me just see the questions. Are you?
I think Martin, your question
Oh,
is your
I
question,
did.
Martin, more
Sorry, David.
about Circle, Martin, or is your question about you're deployed via Ant Media
No, no,
service? I'm not sure because he followed up
I
saying I would really like to build this using Ant Media, the webinar.
yeah.
Okay.
So
It,
okay,
okay.
just let me proceed then. So
Okay.
currently,
It looks
we
like a webinar app question. Yeah, yeah. I understand.
Yeah.
yeah
Okay, so
yeah webinar. I
Ahmed,
mean, we
yeah,
use the Visionular encoder when there is a transcoding on the server side. Currently, there is no transcoding on the server side. We just relay the stream as is. So that right now this technology is not being used under the hood. Antifreezes is coming from our backend side, and this conferencing application perform better in next releases. So this is most likely the improvement opportunities available in our backend side for this conferencing solution.
I see Ahmed had a
yeah.
question about identifying different elements. Yeah, so sorry if I
Yeah.
went too fast, Ahmed, but we use AI and ML. We have a lightweight machine learning model inside of our codec to do that scene classification, scene categorization, to identify if it's sports, to identify if it's screen share, to identify if it's news. And so based on that scene categorization, we then decide what knobs and levers to use inside the encoder to do the compression. With regards to the codec, we use standards compliant codec. So we will process encode using AVC, HEVC, or AV1 are the three main encoders that we build. So the user install an SDK to play back the content.
Yes. I think, David, let me just add a single point to yours because it might touch upon a few other questions. I see that a couple of people are asking how much larger the server need to be. I think Praveen's asking a question from a slide comparing a gaming video, 300
So,
FPS. Yeah, so
Krishna,
Praveen also, yes, go ahead.
I can proceed for the questions one by one, and I can ask you, then we will just proceed in a more organized way. So I
Perfect,
think
perfect.
the latest question that you answer is coming from the Ahmed, and I'm right now proceeding with Alexei's question, and Alexei is asking, what hardware must be installed on the server to support your modern compression?
Absolutely nothing else. If you are able to run Ant Media server on your machine, you have to just in the settings switch to Visionular and it'll work just fine. You don't need any additional hardware, additional software, either on your server or on your playback side. Everything is because, as David mentioned, we use standard codecs like HEVC, AVC, AV1. The secret sauce that we provide is in the mode help the encoder make much better compression decisions. That's it. We are completely standards compliant.
Okay, perfect. So I'm proceeding for the next question, and
Yeah.
the Prevan is asking, what is the
Yes.
glass-to-glass latency with your encoder library versus the traditional one?
It's whatever we're using Ant, we have the same latency. don't have a strict number for that actually.
Yeah, I
So we
mean,
haven't
we can
added
say
any
sub-second,
Yeah.
sub-second latency again with the similar way. Okay, then I'm proceeding again. For V Tautus, sorry if I pronounce not correctly. He's asking, is it can be used with WebRTC live stream protocol? I think I can answer that one.
Yes.
The Ant Media server can ingest any WebRTC or RTMP, SRT, and can use the encoder under the hood so that it can be used for any kind of protocol, as long as it has been ingested by Ant Media server, WebRTC, SRT, RTSP, RTMP, whatever you use. It works for all of them. And the next question is coming from Christian. How much larger would the server need to be thermal 6-core, 16 gigabyte of RAM?
Right.
What is
So
this?
we don't expect it to be any bigger than this, and I'll again tell you the reason. Right. So just going back to the earlier point, all we do is we have highly trained neural networks and models which quickly understand what's going on. Right. So if it's a sports game, we have seen our model has seen thousands of clips of optimal mode decisions. So we actually, very funnily, the next question is probably the answer to my question right now, where Praveen has said that the frames per second, the encoding frames per second has actually increased by a very large amount in HEVC. And this is primarily the reason, Praveen, where mode decisions are done way faster. Our code is highly optimized, so we are very CPU efficient as well. Making better and faster mode decisions makes us very fast. And again, all this is talk, right? So proof is in the pudding. Any one of you feel free to contact us. We'll be more than happy to give you demos.
I think
How
it's important to note, based on
we,
that. So, let me add one point there. I think, Praveen, your question was whether or not we were doing frame rate up conversion as well. And we were not. That was basically just to show how fast the encoder could run, but the output was the same frame rate for both encoders.
Oh, Praveen,
I think that was,
David,
yeah.
that's probably a good point. So, Praveen, I refer to encoding frames per second. I'm not talking about the display frame rate. So, the display frame rate is probably the same 30 or 40, 50 or 60 FPS. The encoding frames per second has increased. Praveen's an
okay?
expert in compression, so
Yeah,
definitely
perfect.
this
Thank you.
question would come to mind.
Thank you, Praveen. So Martin has asked a question about Circle, and Burak has answered that. We can discuss that stuff later because this is another use case. So, and Praveen is also asking, do you use the super resolution for scaling the video frames to generate the AVR ladder?
So,
Okay.
say, let me answer it slightly differently. The first slide, one of the slides David said in the beginning, showed in the beginning was what happens before compression, right? So we do frame processing, and then we do the mode decisioning, and then we go to the compression. So we do have our own secret sauces for creating the bitrate ladder, right? Where we understand what's going inside. We can take the necessary processing as well.
Okay, perfect. So I'm proceeding, and Said Mohammed is asking, what will be the impact on resolution for live sessions?
Again, we don't see any major impact today compared to what
Okay.
you're already experiencing for
I see.
using Ant Media server. Yeah. Also, let me add a point. Probably this question will come up a couple of times. Um, as I introduced us in the beginning, our bread and butter is video compression, right? So the way we have designed our solutions is to be very highly tunable. Now, what you're seeing there is a very aggressive demo that I prepared for this call, right, with my colleagues. Now, you might hey, can you improve my video quality? Probably just give me 15 or 20% bitrate reduction. Or you could say, I'm quite happy with my quality, match that quality, but drop it as much as possible. So the advantage here is the integration is so flexible with Ant Media that we can help you swing either way, right? Depending on your business requirements. So if you
Okay.
want to get more aggressive, uh, it depends on how we actually tune your encoder. But from today's analysis, we don't see an impact.
Yeah, I see. So then the other question is also a similar question, and Usama is asking how does the CPU loads compares to any other encoder, and when using your encoder with similar encoding parameters. So do you see some kind of CPU load?
No, but this is probably a note to us that let's produce some additional documents and material
Yeah.
directly addressing this point and push out a post saying, because it's a
But
very good question if it's come multiple times.
I
Yeah.
will add though that our encoders are more compute efficient than their open source equivalent, right? So when we
Yes.
compare like X264 OpenH264 to Aurora 4,
Yeah.
our codec, we will typically run at 10 or 15% less CPU load. With HEVC, we would typically run at usually somewhere around 25-ish% of the equivalent type of parameters used by, like, for example, X265. So there's no increase in CPU when you're looking at comparable codec. If you're going to use AVC today, we'll actually use less CPU. If you can use HEVC today, we will use less CPU load.
Yes.
Okay, that's great. So and I think the question from the Martin, the next question is that so are there any licenses needed
Yes.
for using your?
Yeah. So
Could you
it's
please
a
explain a little bit
two-part,
about that stuff?
definitely. So this is going back to the integration. Now, when you're running Ant Media server, what happens under the hood is, I mean, Ogus, correct me if I'm wrong. Uh, Ant Media essentially has to you decode it, send it to the encoder inside, right? And then create the output and push it out. Now, all that we have done is replace that encoder with our encoder, right? So if you're running Ant Media, the demo I just showed you is running on an Ubuntu instance on EC2. So there is no separate AI solution. We are a single encoder which already has the AI capabilities baked into it. So there's no additional software to install, no additional hardware to install. The second part of the question, do you need additional licenses? Yes. At this stage, definitely. When you decide to start using Visionular, there will be a joint discussion where you will be issued a license to use the server, essentially. So you'll have your Ant Media server license and you'll have a Visionular license, which turns on our encoder.
Yeah. So the next question is from G, and he's asking, is it correct that the encoding is not being done on the Ant server, but the stream is being streamed to the Visionular server and encoded on their servers? So I can answer this question. So everything is being done on your Ant Media server. There is a tight integration with the Ant Media server and the Visionular encoder. So everything is being done in the same as an answer for your question, G. So I'm proceeding for the next question, and we are almost we have just 5 minutes left. Ahmet is asking, do you do scene based classification to optimize encoder parameters for the whole scene, or some sort of segmentation algorithm to encode different segments of the frames with different rates? So maybe Krishna, if it is something to answer, takes some time. Maybe we can just you can answer maybe later. It is up to you.
No, it's a great question actually. So
Okay.
we do detection. I would say I wouldn't. I don't want to overstep and use the word segmentation, but we do detect faces and text and certain other features. So So our algorithms are trained to look for these, and it also understands as humans. For example, if I'm watching a close-up of a soccer match or football match, right? When Ronaldo comes, I'm not going to look at the grass behind him. I'm going to be looking at him. So we understand that. Our encoder understands that inherently. So we will allocate more bits to his face and probably steal bits from the grass and the background where you're obviously not going to be looking at. So we do scene-based classification. We do in a particular scene, we do certain classifications to understand what is the optimal bit allocation to improve video quality and reduce bitrate.
Okay, thank you for the answer. So the next question is coming from the pricing stuff. So how do you price the encoder by usage or instance? Need pricing for consideration.
Yeah, so typically this is priced by channel of output or instance. So Christian, feel free to contact me. We can talk more about this either afterwards. Either way.
Okay, so the next question is that, I mean, we get really good number of questions, so it means that
Yeah, fantastic.
there's a
Yeah.
good interest for this technology.
Yes.
So the question is, does your AI model analyze or retain any metadata from our video content?
No, absolutely not. We obviously analyze your video, but we do not transmit anything from the server. We have a massive number of clips that we train our videos on. We do not use any of our customer content.
Okay, so that it is fully complaint for the security,
Absolutely.
privacy, and the other.
Definitely, definitely.
Yeah, okay.
And to just go back to what David presented, right? We have probably over the last 6 years gone through months of compliance satisfaction over some of the largest companies in the world. So we are very careful to ensure that no data leaves our servers. The only thing is a licensing request saying, "Hey, I'm going to start the." Once you get a acknowledgement, you start compressing. That's it.
Yeah. So guys, we are just the meeting time is almost full. We can just a couple of more questions left. Maybe we can proceed faster for that one. Krishna, David, what do you see? What do you think about it?
How much? I think some of the questions are similar.
Yeah.
There is,
Okay,
I don't know.
we can
I don't know
proceed.
how to choose.
Okay, we can
Yeah.
proceed this way, guys. So you can send questions to Krishna or David. Krishna, David, could you please text your email address to the chat window so that guys can reach out to you for
Sure,
that one?
absolutely. Yep.
So, and I'm just proceeding for the last part that I just would like to share my screen again. And we just made a very successful live demonstration and Q&A part. So there's a really good number of questions, and it was great to see these number of questions. So as a next step for the Ant Media server side, I mean, we are just about to support the DRM, not about to support. We are currently supporting the DRM, and we have another partner, and we will have another webinar with our partner Polycon about the DRM integration, so that we can just bind or unit everything. We can transcode the stream with Visionular in Ant Media server. Then we can use the DRM with our another partner. So there will be a full end-to-end solution that is protected and also with a high quality and lower bitrate, lower bandwidth. So this is the DRM stuff that we will introduce likely later next month, not this month, in our website. So guys, we will be in NAB. Visionular and Ant Media will be in NAB, and we are very happy to meet you. If you will be there, just come to our booth and we will just discuss there. So, and there will be some kind of surprises in NAB that we will launch some new products of Ant Media, and it will be there. So, as a suggestion, if you would like to have some kind of suggestion about the Ant Media, about the Visionular, about the next event, what should be the topic look like, please, you can just write it down on the chat window, or you can just send to the contact@antmedia.io or the Krishna's email address or David's email address. So, and before closing, I just would like to thank you to everyone that is being part of this webinar. Thank you for that. And here are some just kind of images that we organized in the team annual gathering last year. So that we will just go to a holiday place or something like that. And in the next year, we will organize a similar event, and we will just with some guys from our partners, from the community, and there will be much more fun and growth in this year's event. So that I just want to let you know in advance. Thank you for being here, guys. Thank you for joining the meeting. It was a great experience for us to make this webinar real. And thank you, Visionular. Thank you, Krishna, for being here. So it was
Thank
great.
you so much, August. Let me take a
Thank you.
quick screenshot of whoever's here.
Yeah, okay. Let's open the cameras, guys. We will have a
Yes.
screenshot.
Yes.
Let's open the cameras.
You can hear me go click now. Okay, it's probably nighttime in most places, so let people be. Okay, thank you so much.
Okay,
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you.
Have a great night. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.